This is a quick Slack tutorial that I'm recording for Code Louisville, so anyone can review this later if they need a little bit of help getting started in Slack. So, first of all, Slack is a communication tool that we use in the Code Louisville program. It is free to use, and it is sent to all staff, mentors, and students in the program, and it is only open to those folks. And we use this throughout the week to communicate with each other, so we don't have to wait until class comes up in a week or so. We also use it for official announcements about the program, sharing learning resources, general tech information, and just being social with one another. The goal with Slack is to help us learn and to help us build a community so that we can help one another in our job search, in our careers, whatever the case may be. So I'm already logged into Slack here. If you have not logged in yet, you should have received an email from Slack, although it was generated by Code Louisville, and there should be a join link in that email. Just follow the instructions. It should be pretty straightforward. It'll ask you to set up a username, a password, set up your name to be displayed, and upload a picture of yourself. And we do ask that you please use your real name and a picture of yourself in Slack, as long as you're comfortable with that. The reason for that is we're trying to build a community. You are going to meet people face to face. Your mentors are going to be talking with you online and in class, and it helps to know who they're talking to. So please do use your real name and a picture in Slack. So when you log in, you're going to see something that looks roughly similar to this. This is using the browser version. You can see that I've got a Chrome window open here. And Slack is available in the browser, and you can just go to the workspace, and in our case, it's codelouisville.slack.com, and you just log in. But you can also use the desktop app, which you can get at slack.com, and you can download it from here under the solutions area. And there's also a mobile app version for both iOS and Android, and you can download that and log in on your phone and see pretty much the same stuff on your phone and use it just the same. So, a quick overview of what we got here. So first of all, on the left bar here is our navigation, which is all the different ways that we can chat. So the main thing in Slack are what are called channels. These are basically just discussion topics. We, the Code Louisville team, have created a bunch of different channels to help push conversation and organize it into topics. And I'll go through each one of those real quick, just so you can see what they're all about. So first of all, I'm in the general channel, and this is just for general discussion about both Code Louisville and technology in general. This channel is open to everyone in Code Louisville, current, past, present. They're all in there. You can see that in total we have nearly 1,900 people at the time of this recording that are in this channel. That's because Code Louisville's been around since 2015. And in this channel, we basically can just talk about anything related to the program, just general technology stuff, things like that. So you can see some various stuff that people have been sharing, some videos, some questions, talking about events, things like that. So to go to another channel, you just click on it, and you'll see that some of these are lit up and some of them are not. When they're white like this, that means that there's a message that I haven't read yet. And so when I click on Get in GitHub, you'll see that there's this red bar that says basically that's the last time I checked this channel. And so all these messages below this red bar are new. And so I can scroll through there and read them if I want. You don't even have to read every message because sometimes there can be a lot. But after I've read them, you'll notice that it goes kind of gray, just like the general channel did here. So Get in GitHub, this is a specific channel for version control. So that's something that comes into all of our classes, particularly around week 2 or 3 if you're in the front-end web development class. And basically it generates a lot of questions, so we created its own channel for people to ask Git-related questions. We've got Job Hunt, which is where we share resources and tips and stuff like that for things related to your job search. So, recently there's a discussion about paired programming. Resources is for sharing any resources you may need in your career. So, there's some free training classes being offered, or there are people who are talking about different text editors and things like that. Social is just a channel for having some fun. So get to know each other, introduce yourselves, post pictures of your pet, whatever you like. People were posting some funny YouTube videos, their dogs, things like that. Even just talking about the latest Slack updates and what people liked and mostly didn't like about the changes in the interface recently. Tech events. So tech events is where we share events that are going on. These will be both online and in-person events. And basically, these are places to go to meet people and to learn something new about technology, which is a requirement of the program to go out and seek out these events. So you're welcome to share your own events in here as you find them. If you see something else that's related to both technology and networking, meeting with people. And you can just kind of scour through here and find new events. The Treehouse channel. This is not a channel for asking Treehouse questions. We actually have some friends from Treehouse in here, and they occasionally share some updates with us. So new videos that are released or tips about their platform, things like that. If you have questions about Treehouse as a company or as a platform, you're welcome to post those questions in here. But otherwise, you do not want to be asking tech questions or curriculum questions in this channel. The next one is the announcements channel. So the announcements channel, we moderate this channel. We delete messages that are not relevant because we want this to be major announcements for the whole program. So you can see here that there were some announcements about the second week of class and some different Slack channels that are available to join. And so basically anything in here should be relevant to everybody. And then the next thing I'm going to show you is a class channel. So this is one of many examples. Every class, which usually is anywhere from 20 to up to 40 people, as well as their mentors and the Code Louisville staff, get their own channel. And so this is going to be your go-to place for asking questions, at least the first time. So in this case, this channel is for the front-end class that meets Thursday nights in the May 2020 Code Louisville session. Your channel is going to look different based on whatever class that you join Code Louisville with. But again, this is going to be about 40 people, give or take. And this is a great place to go and meet your classmates, talk with them, share, help each other, ask questions. Your mentors are in here and will look at it all the time. And they'll generally check multiple times a week, some of them multiple times per day, for questions that are asked. So this is a great place to go and ask your questions. So there are other channels out there. I'm not going to go through them, but if you want to go browse some other channels, you just click on the plus sign here, and you can scroll through all these different channels to join. And so there's things like memes, if you just really like internet pictures. If you want to talk about PHP, there's a channel for that, mobile development discussion, all kinds of stuff. You're welcome to browse through here. All the class channels are public, so we ask that you do not join those. Those are for that class, so we don't want random people joining other people's classes. So just ignore those ones, but you can join like the C# discussion channel if you want to talk with other people about the C# language. Just do not join the C# Tuesday, May 2020 class, for example. So those are channels. The other thing is direct messages. So direct messages are exactly what they sound like, messages between people. In this case, I've actually sent myself a test message just to demonstrate this. So I'm logged in as just a person I created, Pat Jones. But I sent myself a message so you can see what those look like. You get this red 1 right here that says, hey, you have a notification. So you'll get that with each direct message. And if somebody sends you one, you just click on it and you can see your direct message history. If you wanted to start one, you just click on the plus next to direct message and you search for who you want. So if I want to message Brian, I just type in his name, click right there, and hit go. And if I even wanted to, I could start a message with 2 different people simultaneously, and we could have 3 people in the conversation. But so I just select Brian, I hit go, and it's going to take me to my direct messages with them. So as you're going through the program, you are welcome to use direct messages as much as you need, but we do request that any questions you have about the technology, about the curriculum, goes in your class channel. The reason why is if you have a question, there's a pretty good chance somebody else has the same question, and we'd like everybody to learn from others' experience. So if you ask that question in the channel, somebody else may be able to help you out sooner. Or even if it takes a while and your mentor gets there and answers the question, then others will learn from that. So please try and avoid using direct messages for tech questions whenever possible. What else? So within these channels, there's all kinds of different things we can do. So this is the main viewing area. So as I go around to channels, you'll see it's showing the content of that channel. And I'm just going to demonstrate this in a direct message, but what I'm doing will work in channels just the same. So down here is your formatting bar, and there's all kinds of different things you can do. You've probably experienced these in lots of different apps. You can do things like bold and italics and bullet points, things like that. But there's a few useful things in Slack that is great for software developers, people writing code. So the first one is what's called a code block. There's this button right here called code block, and you'll see it also has a hotkey, Control-Alt-Shift-C, and I'll even tell you another one, an even easier one than that in just a moment. But a code block will preserve your formatting in Slack. What I mean by that, when you're writing code, you use all kinds of special characters, tabs, spaces, things like that. And if you had a question about it and you're like, hey, here's my code, can somebody tell me what I'm doing wrong? If you just paste that in this box right here, it's going to kind of be hard to read. Slack tries to change your formatting a little bit to make it easier to read, and it in fact makes it harder. So that's what a code block is for. It's going to preserve all your formatting, no matter what. So all you have to do is you click that, and you get this little box right here, and you type in your code, whatever the case may be. And as you type, it's going to let you hit enter to submit it, or you can just hold shift and enter to go to the next line. Or you can just hit paste and paste in a whole block of code if you don't want to type it all out yourself. That's probably the easiest way. The other way, the quick way if you're somebody who likes hotkeys, is just to hit the back tick 3 times. And if you've never encountered the back tick, it's the same key as the tilde key, which is left of the 1, below the escape key, above the tab key. You just hit it 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and it opens a code block for you. And you can type in your code and then hit 3 more back ticks, 1, 2, 3, to close it. So back ticks, if you like those, or just click the button here, we'll open those code blocks and allow you to paste in your code so it's easier to read. And even if you paste in a huge amount of code, like several pages of code, hundreds of lines, it will handle that and it will actually condense it. And then somebody who wants to read the whole thing can click an expand button. Other useful things. So attaching files. You've probably seen something like this before, but particularly in Slack, what is often useful is posting screenshots. So you may get an error message, and maybe it's one that you can't copy and paste, or you really want to show how something looks on your website because you don't know why it's displaying it correctly. Those are great reasons to use screenshots. So if you really needed to, you could take a picture with your phone or something, point it at your screen and take a picture and upload it. That'll work. But the best way is to take your own screenshot inside of your computer. Now, if you're on a Windows machine like I am here, the quickest and easiest way is with a hotkey. And it's a fairly easy one. You hold the Windows and the Shift key. You hold both those keys down, Windows and Shift, and you hit S. And your screen's going to dim, and you're going to get this cursor, this crosshair. And then you just drag a box over something. So, if I want to just take a screenshot of this right here, just drag a box, let go, and that's going to put it on my clipboard. So my computer saved it. I don't see it immediately, but it's actually copied, as if I had hit copy. And so I can literally just paste it here. So I'm going to hit the Control-V key, which is the hotkey for paste. And Slack's going to pop up and say, hey, you can add a message to this. Here's what the screenshot looks like. And I'm just going to hit upload. And there's my screenshot, exactly as I took it, where I dragged that box. And so, I can click into that and look over it and then exit out. And that's a great way to share screenshots. If you are on Mac, that same thing can be done with the Command-Shift-4 keys. So hold Command and Shift, and then hit 4, and you'll be able to drag a box over something. So yeah, that's a great use of attaching files. If I saved that screenshot to my desktop as like a JPEG or a PNG or something like that, you could just click here, upload it from your computer. Yeah, so that's basically some of the main stuff for chatting with people. You can explore all kinds of other things here. There's like emojis and stuff if you want to use those in your text. And we encourage you just to try things out. If you want to try some more advanced stuff, you can get into what are called slash commands, and these are totally optional. But if you type slash, you get all kinds of commands that you can do. There's a lot of stuff that you probably won't need in here, but you can even do stuff like create a poll. So if you want to create a poll asking people to choose between some options, you could do that. You can do something like if you do collapse, it will hide like any images. So if you don't like seeing animated images, you can just turn those off. And basically, you can kind of just explore in there. You can even do a reminder, which is useful. So you can like say, remind me to check Slack every day at 5 p.m. And, whoops, I'm sorry, remind. It's not reminder, it's remind. So there we go. And so there, now Slack is just going to send me a notification every day at 5 p.m. and just say, check Slack. This just helps me remember that I need to do this every day. So, all right. So, so we've talked about a lot of the major features, a few other things. So up here is the Code Louisville icon and everything. There's all kinds of options that you can do in here. You can get additional help from Slack here. You can join other Slack workspaces. There are all kinds of them out there. Work ones, fun ones, you name it. You can open the desktop app if you've got it installed. But really, you can change your profile. And, this is where you would go to upload a picture, change your name, things like that. You can change your preferences. So you can change things like how it looks, what you see on your sidebar, things like accessibility, all that kind of stuff. Notifications, you can turn on and off notifications. You can tell, do you want it for every message in Slack? Do you only want it for direct messages, things like that? You can set times so you don't get messages in the middle of the night, things like that. And there's other things you can explore, but those are the major ones as far as general day-to-day use. So let's go back to our nightly channel, this front-end Thursday night class for the May 2020 channel. And again, we can see that there's been some conversation going on, but a few quick tips about channels. First of all, there's this details up here in the top right. If you click on details, you're going to get this bar on the right, and it has some other things in it. So first of all, about. If you go to about, we will update every one of these channels, the class channels, with the mentors in the program. So this class night, Thursday, has 4 mentors, Brent, Calvin, Don, and Kurt, and we've included their identifiers here so you can see when they're chatting. So we know Brent is a mentor, and so when I see Brent posting here, I know, hey, that's one of my mentors, one of the people that's leading my class. So he may be a good person to answer my question. You can also just see everybody who's in the channel in case you forgot who you're talking to in class last night and you want to look through and see if you can find them here. You can direct message them, things like that, just by clicking on their name and clicking on message. And yeah, you can, if you need to, there's some other options here, like if you need to leave a channel. You don't want to leave your class night channel, but if you didn't like seeing all the social stuff in the social channel because you're just here to do work, that's okay. You can go to social, and you can go to more, and you can just leave social. And then you won't see those messages. You definitely want to stay in announcements and your night channel in general, though. Those are the 3 major channels. And yeah. So let's see. What else is interesting? So I wanted to talk a little bit about the expectations in Slack, like what it is used for and what to expect when using it. The main thing about Slack is it's what's called asynchronous communication, meaning not at the same time. So this is not like being on the phone where you're expecting an immediate response. This is very similar to text messaging and instant messaging in that you send a message, but it may take a while for somebody to respond because they may be working, they may be away from their computer, whatever the case may be, they may just not be logged in at that moment. And so this platform works best when you just get straight to the point. You can be friendly, you can say hi and whatever before your message, but do not just post hi or is anyone online right now or can I ask a question. Those things are basically a waste of time. So somebody will respond back eventually saying, yeah, what's your question? But if you had just posted it right away, you just said, hi, I have a question, here it is, and then you post your question, you're going to get an answer much faster. And your mentors may come along soon, another classmate may be able to help answer the question. But just post it out there. Just somebody will come along eventually to answer your question. So if you post and you haven't gotten a response, just wait. It will come. If it does take a long time for some reason, like check like how active the channel is. So like I talked about the PHP channel earlier. That's not the most active channel. You see a tiny few messages a year in it. So if you're asking a PHP question, it's not being checked very often, so you may not see an answer right away. So just look and see how active. Are there recent messages? Are there a lot of people in the channel? Check that right there. And if there's a lot of people, you're probably going to get an answer soon. If there's just a tiny few, you may want to go somewhere else, like the general channel, to ask your question, or your class night channel. Let's see. So just a few other quick things. How to ask a good question. So screenshots, first of all, help a lot. If you're stuck on something, if your code isn't working, if your website looks weird and not like you expected it, just post a screenshot, just like we discussed earlier. If it's a treehouse video, post which video you're on. Like you can post a link, take it straight out of your browser window and paste it in there. You can say, I'm on the CSS responsive layout video, third question. And it's asking me this, and then you paste the question that it's asking. If you just say, hey, I'm stuck on a treehouse video, there's dozens of them. People aren't going to know which one you're on, so you need to tell them where to go to find the question so that they can help you find an answer. And if it's your project that you're sharing, you want to either use code blocks to share those blocks of code that we talked about, or what's even better is once you learn how to use Git and GitHub, you put your code, your project, your entire project on your GitHub portfolio. And that way you can just share one link and it will go to all of your code. Multiple files, multiple folders, all that can be shared with one link. And your mentors and your classmates should all be able to download that and look at your entire project. So in case you grab the wrong part of your code, somebody could use that GitHub link to go track down the right part of the code that you need to fix. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's the Slack tutorial. I will close with one last thing, which is the Giphy command. I talked about those slash commands. If you type /Giphy and then a keyword, it's gonna post a random funny picture for you. So I'm gonna sign off by saying /Giphy. Goodbye. All right, that ends it for the tutorial. And if you have any questions, just reach out to the Code Louisville staff or your mentors, and they'll be happy to answer them. Bye.